Aquatics classes to equipment loans. The Arthritis Foundation is here to help.
From the heart of green country, this is Good Morning Oklahoma with Karen Larson and Clark Powell.
Good morning, Green Country. Time to rise and shine at 6 o'clock.
Good morning. Looking at another chilly morning this morning. It's 37 degrees outside. Just the kind of weather to make you want to pull on those running shoes and hit the road, right?
Oh, you bet. Well, that is, of course, what the Jingle Bell Run hopes to do. We'll previewing that big race this weekend. Plus, Jack Sonnerhoff will be in with his weekly brand of legal advice. And we'll look at the toll that AIDS has taken as the AIDS Quilt Project rolls into Tulsa. Right now, though, Clark is in with the first morning news. Clark?
Good morning, Karen, and good morning, Oklahoma. Topping our national news at this hour, a late night for Secretary of State James Baker. Last night, the Secretary launched a series of last-minute diplomatic efforts to win support for the UN resolution against Iraq. Mr. Baker held meetings with Chinese and Cuban officials to try and shore up the vote on the resolution that calls for the use of force if Iraq doesn't leave Kuwait by January 15th. Despite Mr. Baker's efforts, Cuba says it will vote against the UN proposal. China says it will also vote against the measure, but there is still no word on whether China will invoke its veto power. On the day that the U.S. expects to win the United Nations approval for military move against Iraq, President Bush faces growing American opposition to such action. The Senate Armed Services Committee continues hearings today on whether a military move now is wise. Mike McKee reports from Washington.
Those who counsel restraint in the Middle East got a somewhat unexpected boost yesterday from two former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. David Jones and William Kraut told the Senate Armed Services Committee they are concerned about the president's plan to double the U.S. deployment in Saudi Arabia.
My main concern with this latest scheduled reinforcement isn't that we might choose to fight, but rather the deployment might cause us to fight, perhaps prematurely and perhaps unnecessarily.
Both said the U.S. could win any fight with Iraq, but it should be an absolute last resort. Both suggested waiting longer for the economic sanctions to work.
If, in fact, the sanctions will work in 12 to 18 months instead of 6 months, the trade-off of avoiding war with its attendant sacrifices and uncertainties would, in my estimation, be more than worth it.
Each man, citing the lessons of Vietnam, strongly suggested Congress and the President come to public agreement on the use of force. The panel's next witness agreed, but disagreed on the length of time the U.S. could afford to wait on the sanctions. Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger doesn't think the U.S. can sustain large troop levels in Saudi Arabia for long.
My gut feeling is that the presence of such a large American force in a theocratic society like Saudi Arabia is in the long term incompatible with its domestic stability.
The Senate committee will explore that further today, hearing from a panel of Middle East experts as it weighs the pros and cons of taking action now rather than waiting. Mike McKee in Washington.
While lawmakers look into the possibility of military action in the Persian Gulf, students at the University of Louisville clash in anti-war demonstrations. Nearly 200 students gathered at yesterday's rally against the deployment of U.S. troops to the Persian Gulf. But soon, student supporters for Operation Desert Shield showed up to trade words. Not since the 60s has the U.S. seen movements like these on college campuses. Luckily, no one was injured in yesterday's clash. Now let's take a look at today's activities calendar for Green Country. Northern Telecom delivers emergency phones to Bell Telephone for use in an earthquake preparedness plan. A Tulsa boy leaves to meet Michael Jordan today thanks to the Starlight Group, which provides wishes to children with life-threatening illnesses. And a national drug expert speaks to students at Sapulpa High School later today. And outside, it's still chilly.
Not quite as cold as it was yesterday.
Not bad. It'll make you shiver. Speaking of putting on running shoes and hitting the road, not for me.
No, you're not going to do that?
This cold, no. If I ran, I would run real quick.
You have to really dress warm for that sort of thing, and then I guess just keep peeling off the layers as you go.
And you've got to be real dedicated.
Oh, yes.
Which I'm not.
Neither
Right now, outside, it is 35 degrees. If you are heading out the door to run, put on a bunch of clothes. Humidity 63%, rather. Winds out of the northwest at 9. The pressure is 30, 20, and rising this morning. For today, sunny and warmer with a high of 59 degrees. Not bad. Northwest winds at 5 to 10. For tonight, clear and cold with a low of 25 degrees. The winds you see there shift to the south at 10 to 15. And for tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer, a high of 65. Hold on to your hats. Southwest winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. And the next 5 days look like this. This weekend, we should have another gorgeous weekend. 65 on Friday, as we said. 58 on Saturday under sunny skies. Then Sunday back up to 62. And then Monday, a front should move back through and bring us back down to reality and back down to more fall-like temperatures. But for the weekend, it looks like we're shaping up real nice.
I guess you could call us the original couch potatoes.
Yeah, literally.
You'll probably find us here this
Yes.
weekend, too. Thanks, Clark. Well, straight ahead, part 3 of our series, Women in Charge. And a little later, the Jingle Bell Run, a great way to keep in shape and help some youngsters at the same time. Don't go away.
As you can see, I'm buried by the truly awesome year-end closeout savings available at your Green Country GMC truck dealer. If you want part of this cash, see him for big discounts on new Sierras, Sonomas, Jimmys, Safaris, and Suburbans. There's also cashback incentives and optional low-interest financing on both 90 and 91 models. Awesome savings and cash back. They're waiting for you now at your Green Country GMC dealer. Is that mine? No wonder it hurts.
When traveling by air, make ground travel convenient and safe by leaving your car at fine airport parking. Once you've been escorted to the parking area, we'll shuttle you and your luggage to Tulsa International in 5 minutes or less. No hassle.
We offer complete auto detailing, and you also may freshen up in our courtesy room. Stop in for our complimentary soft drinks and popcorn, and we'll even clean your windows.
Tulsa's place to park when flying. Fine airport parking, 832-8880.
Mrs. Powell had just moved to town when Billy came down with a fever. She couldn't find his prescription anywhere. She called us here at MedX. I told her to bring her doctor's phone number and we'd see what we could do. With a couple of phone calls and some quick double checking, we were able to take care of her. And Billy was pretty happy too.
We're the MedX in your neighborhood.
Can I go outside and play?
You always know that you can count on us.
It is Thursday, November 29th, 8 minutes after 6 and 35 degrees outside. In agriculture news, sweeping changes ahead for American farmers. President Bush has signed into law the 1990 Farm Bill. It cuts subsidized acreage by 15% and cuts ag spending by more than $13 billion over the next 5 years. The president calls it a market-oriented bill that lets farmers make their own production decisions based on the market rather than on government support prices. In business news, the economy continues to show signs of a recession, and the junk bond industry claims another casualty. Now for a look at the Morning Money Minute, here's Steve Knight.
Good morning, Oklahoma. The stock market opens this morning down slightly. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost nearly 9 points to close at 2535.15. Oil prices are up 45 cents a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude now selling for $33.30 a barrel. The chairman of the Federal Reserve says the rising cost of oil because of the Persian Gulf crisis has pushed the U.S. into a meaningful downturn. Alan Greenspan's comments confirm what other analysts have said about the country being in a recession. Another signal of that, the gross national product grew at a lackluster 1.7% annual rate between July and September. The cost of the savings and loan crisis was too much for an elderly Burbank, California man. Police say he killed himself because he spent his life savings on worthless junk bonds from a failed Lincoln savings and loan. That's this morning's business. Now back to Good Morning Oklahoma.
Thank you, Steve. Women in business for themselves often go it alone. That's because they find so few opportunities many times in the general workplace. Others do well, spend 25 years climbing the corporate ladder, only to step off and branch out on their own. Joey Sikora dressed for success at IBM. Well, now she dresses for herself at Tulsa's Home of the Blues, as Yvonne Harris shows us in the last installment of Women in Charge.
They say the best kept secret in Tulsa is the fact that Joey is really an old fat man who smokes cigars.
Don't believe them for a minute. Joey is anything but a typical barkeeper. This is her second career. Her first was a 25-year stint with Big Blue, IBM.
Studies suggest that women in corporate America have to be careful how they throw their weight around. One plus of Joey's second profession is that she's free to be herself. Intense, colorful, and driven.
One day I just decided I wanted to try something totally different from the corporate structure, and what could be just really different from the corporate structure.
It wasn't actually that sudden. Joey did a lot of homework, tending bar at night after a day on the job, learning the ropes. That was 10 years ago.
People thought I had lost my mind. Thank goodness I have such an understanding family.
She bought her first bar in Jinx and changed the records in the jukebox from country western to the blues.
And the good old boys were coming in and were going, "Who's B.B. King?" And I'd say, "Well, put your quarter in and you'll find out."
Three locations later, and Joey prides her reputation as the Antones of the Midwest. High praise for a blues bar. She is the driving force behind Blues on the Hill, the annual blues festival. Her T-shirts show up in Chicago and London.
If you make those people feel important and feel welcome and you're here to have a good time, and I think they'll keep coming back.
But even Joey gets the blues. The move to 68th and Peoria hasn't been an easy one. Some of the neighbors have taken her to court. They say the blues music draws an undesirable crowd. Joey says she's made changes and is trying to work it out.
But there's nothing that makes me feel better than to be a little bit down and come down and hear a really good blues band.
But business is business.
And this is a business to me. It's the same as the corporate office. The customers are here to party. I'm here to take care of business.
What makes business is the music. To paraphrase, the music isn't everything, it's the only thing. Her favorite tune on the jukebox?
My favorite song on the jukebox would be Every Day I Have the Blues.
And thanks to Joey's, Tulsa does too. Yvonne Harris, News 8.
We do promise to wake you up in the morning. Well, up next, ensuring a happy holiday for those who really need it. Sharon Blessing joins us next with the 5th annual Jingle Bell Run. Stay with us.
We set out to show you every tire and mag wheel Robertson Tire has in stock. Every Michelin, Dayton, Yokohama, and BF Goodrich tire. Plus all the Centerline, Western, and Traeger mag wheels. But when you have the largest selection of tires and mag wheels in town, and only 30 seconds to show every one, there's just no way. But there is a way you can choose among this great selection and save money too. Come by Robertson Tire Company, your high-performance headquarters, soaring to greater heights.
Do you know what is the best gift you can give? An Okie basket from the Fantasy Factory. Mom said we need a special gift from Oklahoma, so she gave me the job of making the greatest Oklahoma gift ever, Okie baskets. Our baskets are filled with Oklahoma crude hot fudge sauce, tabbouleh mix, dips, honey, popcorn, and many more delicious food items, all made in Oklahoma. I worked so hard on making Okie baskets and doing this commercial, so please show your support. Come in and buy an Okie basket, only at the Fantasy Factory, Village South, Sheridan at 101st.
It's Maxie's.
After Christmas sale, before Christmas. Hundreds of famous brand fashion items priced $19.88 or less. Also, hundreds of wonderful gift items. $19.88 or less with values to $80. Guaranteed lowest prices. 71st and Memorial near Target. 1675 South Yale next to the fairgrounds. Also, Muskogee and Bartlesville.
Shop Maxie's. It's the place for you.
You shop Turnpike first and then buy a new or used car or truck from Turnpike or any new car dealer. We'll give you a $100 Toys R Us gift certificate just for shopping Turnpike first. That's right. You get the car or truck you want and your kids get all those new toys they want just because you remembered to shop Turnpike first.
Turnpike Ford, Subaru, Turner, Tollgate, Tulsa. Road exit. Don't forget the gift certificate.
From the heart of Green Country, Good Morning Oklahoma.
Looking forward to another brisk November morning. The thermometer is showing about 37 degrees in the Tulsa area. It is now 6:18. In sports, the Sooners and TU walk away winners last night, and it's a race to the top, 40 flights up. Bob Healy has more in the morning sports report. Bob?
The news was good for last night for TU and the Sooners, both teams winning. TU taking on Cal State Fullerton, a team that hammered them a year ago. Sweet revenge last night for TU. Jerry Lewis showed up for this one. About 5,000 folks on hand to see TU pull away early. Michael Scott with the jumper to put TU up. Cal State never really got out of the block, still small with one of the buckets on the breakaway, but J.D. Barnett's team was in control throughout this ball game. TU with the hot hand. Kelly Wells puts down the jumper, and TU wins it. The final score last night, 89-63.
I know we played extremely well. First 10 minutes of the basketball game, I think we took control. It reminded me of the Arkansas Express game. I think we really dictated tempo. I think we took control of the game. I think our players came out with great intensity. I think they remember that 84-58 game last year.
So they was talking noise out there all night. We just sitting and waiting for it. We couldn't wait until the game started. We was hoping they come out that zone, but they never came out the zone, so we could have really blew them out.
Sooners also a winner last night, taking on Texas A&M. The Aggies hanging tough early. Let's go to the highlights of that ball game last night. Texas A&M fired up for this one, ready to play. Thompson cans the tray, and the Sooners up by 3, and Billy was hot. But Mullins goes inside, finds Martin Keene. The Sooners had the lead at the half, and they'd pull away in that second stanza. Mullins inside for 2, a 12-point Sooner lead. They go on to coast to another win on the road, 81-65, the final score. Now, if you're one of those types that loves a challenge, I've got a race for you. Later today, 120 runners will tackle this, the first place tower, all 40 floors of it. The idea is to climb these stairs as quickly as possible to the top, a race to the top. It is all for a good cause. The proceeds going to cystic fibrosis. You can sign up 5:30 today, the race set for 6:30. That's a look at sports. I'm Bob Healy. Now back to Good Morning Oklahoma.
Well, if you're not into climbing stairs, it's time to get those jogging shoes shined. The Jingle Bell Run is right around the corner as well. Sharon Blessing is the race director. She joins us with more on the run. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning.
Now, this is the first year Springer Clinic has taken over the race, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The first year.
And you have a 5K race coming up on Saturday. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, this is a 5K race. It's a new race course. It's downtown. It's got little hills to it, so there'll be a little challenge. And we've also incorporated a fitness walk as well.
Now, this is the 5th year for the Jingle Bell race, right?
It's actually the 6th.
Oh, it's the 6th? Okay, I was counting wrong then in my...
That's okay. Yeah, this will be the 6th year. There have been 5 races before. And it's just gotten a big reputation for being a lot of fun. A lot of costumes and activities that take place. It's not your average race.
Now, I understand that there is, it's like one of the largest races in the state, like the 5th largest or something like that.
In the past, we have had, there have been approximately 1,200 runners that have participated in the race. And so we're looking forward to the same turnout, possibly more. We hope. It's going to be a gorgeous day Saturday.
Yes. Now, you mentioned costumes. People are showing up in like Christmas costumes and such?
Yes, we have a costume contest as part of the race. For individuals and groups, we give away prizes for each. And we have Christmas trees, we have running packages, We have Santa's reindeer. We have a team of reindeer that participate in the run.
That's
so a lot of people
great.
out there putting on their best Christmas efforts.
And
so to
also
speak.
like $4,000 in cash prizes as well.
Yes.
Check in at 8:30. I mean, the race starts at 8:30.
The race starts at 8:30. And they can register at the Westin the day of the race. We're going to start at 7:30 in the morning.
Great.
Pre-raging people.
All right, Sharon, thanks very much for telling us all about the Jingle Bell Run.
Thank you.
If you'd like to find out more information about it, you can contact Sharon at Springer Clinic. Her number direct line is 495-2579. She'll be happy to tell you more about the Jingle Bell Run. Sharon, thanks very much for coming down.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, up ahead in news, a report on Oklahoma's revolving door. The state's governor-elect faces the tough job of correcting the state's prison system. We'll look at some of his ideas. And then making sure that some special children aren't forgotten at Christmas. Clark's in next with news and your workday forecast.
Complete liquidation sale going on right now at Jim Russell's in Muskogee. 74 mobile homes, double wides, travel trailers, and motor homes to be sold at liquidation prices. Own your own 14-wide mobile home for as low as $1,900. We trade for anything of value, and some financing is available. Come to Jim Russell's Mobile Homes and RVs today. Highway 69 North in Muskogee, Oklahoma. 21 years in business. Closed Sundays.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Miller speaking to you from courtesy Chevrolet Geo Honda, 69 Highway in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hundreds and hundreds of Chevrolet cars, trucks, and vans, Hondas, Geos. Ladies and gentlemen, you can come to courtesy Chevrolet Geo Honda and save money on the purchase of a Chevrolet car, truck, or van, and save money on the purchase of a Honda and get service 6 days a week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're your #1 headquarters when you want to buy a new Chevrolet or a new Honda. That's courtesy Chevrolet Geo Honda.
Now there's a new generation of hearing aids and service. The Cleartone Laboratory is much more than a traditional hearing center. We're a full-service manufacturer of quality hearing instruments. We manufacture and fit today's most advanced state-of-the-art models at savings of 35 to 50%. So enjoy our low manufacturer direct prices and call the experts who not only fit hearing aids, but manufacture and service them as well.
Cleartone. When traveling by air, make ground travel convenient and safe by leaving your car at fine airport parking. Once you've been escorted to the parking area, we'll shuttle you and your luggage to Tulsa International in 5 minutes or less. No hassle.
We offer complete auto detailing, and you also may freshen up in our courtesy room. Stop in for our complimentary soft drinks and popcorn, and we'll even clean your windows.
Tulsa's place to park when flying. Fine airport parking, 832-8880.
We're glad you could take time out of your morning to share part of it with us. I'm Karen Larson.
And I'm Clark Powell. It is 6:24 and a cool 36 degrees this morning. I'll have your weather forecast in just a few minutes.
Also coming up in this half hour, our attorney Jack Sonnerhoff looks at a few cases coming up before the Supreme Court. One case involves size discrimination. We'll be talking about that. But first, Clark is bringing us up to date with your morning news. Clark?
Good morning, Oklahoma. Taking a look at our local news. State drug agents say they've arrested 3 people on complaints that they tried to set up a drug lab. State Narcotics Bureau spokesman Scott Rowland says the 3 were arrested on complaints of conspiring to set up a methamphetamine lab. Agents arrested 48-year-old Jackie Dale Kelly of Tryon, 29-year-old Kelly Lynn Cartwright of Tryon, and 41-year-old Ralph Moffitt Jr. of Cushing. A charge of conspiracy to manufacture methamphetamines has been filed against Kelly. No charges have been filed against Cartwright or Moffitt at this time. When Oklahoma's new governor takes office in January, he'll inherit a massive corrections problem. The state's prisons are bursting at the seams, and the Pardon and Parole Board is under fire for its parole policies. But David Walters says he's already got some ideas of how to solve those problems. News 8's Kerry Miller takes a look at Oklahoma's revolving door.
Convicts turn loose before they serve their full sentences.
Governor-elect David Walters knew fear and frustration among his constituents when he saw it. So in the final days of his campaign, he tapped into Oklahoma's overwhelming corrections crisis.
Handle the overflow. There are no easy answers to crime. But I know one thing. Turning criminals loose isn't one of them.
David Walters.
They are afraid. You know, I'm concerned. I've got a 9-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old daughter, a 15-year-old daughter, an 18-year-old son, and yet, you know, an individual that got an early release killed 2 kids in El Reno recently.
So Walters is in search of solutions for a system that is so overcrowded it handles close to 2,000 inmates above what it can house. And as usual, those solutions demand money. Walters says he's already approached the Board of Corrections.
Said, if I gave you $10 million, would that do it? Could you do that? Could you provide the kinds of programs that I just generally described? And the answer I got was yes, I think we could.
Programs, Walters says, like drug rehabilitation, technical training, and literacy projects. A local prosecutor agrees. Tom Gillard says the key is treating the whole inmate.
Is all the correction system does is give us a little piece from that person while they're locked up.
Treating the whole inmate may open the door to more unconventional types of corrections facilities, like this boot camp in western Oklahoma. Here, just over 300 nonviolent offenders enter a military-type program, much like an Army boot camp. But for the inmate who can't be marched or molded or managed into a good citizen, long sentences that mean something.
When you give somebody 20 years and they're out in 2, or they've done all their time, that's another thing about it, is that they've done all their time on a 20-year sentence in 5 or 6 years. Then you got to say something. That's too much of a spread.
Gillard says the only way we, the public, can fight back against today's sentencing trends is through our state legislature. He says lobby your state representative. Tell them you're upset about prisoners who serve only half of their sentence, and then sit back and wait. Because change takes a good deal of political courage, and the wheels of justice continue to grind very slowly. Carrie Miller, News 8.
Marine reservists in Broken Arrow have reported for active duty. Yesterday, members of the 4th Anti-Tank Battalion filled out forms and packed duffel bags, all in preparation for their part in Operation Desert Shield. The unit is scheduled to leave Broken Arrow tomorrow morning for Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. They are a front-line unit with the goal of destroying tanks and armored vehicles. Friends and families gathered last night to host a farewell for the Marines who are headed overseas. While folks in Broken Arrow will be anxiously awaiting their return, many will experience mixed emotions while they're gone. One mother whose son is in the reserve unit describes her feelings.
It's scary, it's frightening, but I also feel proud that he will be one of the ones protecting us, and I do back President Bush. And I think that this country is in a position where we're going to have to stop the situation over there.
24 members of this Broken Arrow unit have not finished their training. They'll be going to California for a time. Their spots will be filled in by Marine volunteers out of Amarillo. Finally, the Department of Human Services is working to make Christmas a little brighter for children in their care. It's called Christmas for Kids. DHS is collecting toys to be distributed later next month. Their major toy push will take place December 1st with a concert at the Caines Ballroom. A variety of local groups will be performing. Admission to the concert is a new toy or a minimum $3 donation at the door.
These are the children who are either placed in foster homes, or they may be in hospitals or group homes, and a few are in relatives' homes or in their own homes.
The Department of Human Services hopes to collect enough toys to surprise 700 kids Christmas morning. You can drop off donations through Christmas at the DHS office downtown. What a good program.
It is a good program.
Something to be proud of.
I should also mention, let me show off my little Jingle Bell Run t-shirt. Isn't that cute?
That is nice.
Yeah, kind of in long sleeves to keep everybody warm. If you're going to be outside
running in this weather, you need these dudes.
But I also should mention that they are also collecting toys for needy Tulsa kids, so that's a good thing to show up with for the run on Saturday morning.
A lot of good programs to get kids in the spirit of Christmas. No one should do without. Well, the weather is certainly helping us get in the spirit of Christmas.
It is. I went shopping yesterday. It made me feel a lot better to have it cold for once.
A lot more people in the mall now that outside the mall is chilly. Right now in Tulsa, we are sitting at 35, continuing that chilly trend. Humidity at 63%. Winds out of the northwest at 9 miles per hour this morning. The pressure is 30-20 and rising. For today, sunny and warmer with a high of 59. That doesn't sound much like Christmas. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. For tonight, clear and cold with a low of 25 degrees. South winds at 10 to 15. And for tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 65 degrees. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Great weekend shaping up. Friday, 65. Saturday, a high of 58 degrees under sunny skies. Sunday, partly cloudy and a high of 62. And then Monday, back down to reality. We should hit 49 as a high on Monday as a new front comes through, but those fronts have been delayed and we've been lucky.
Boy, and that overnight low tonight, 25 degrees.
Chilly. Yes, it was. Very chilly.
Well, Jack Sonnerhoff is in next with the news on a discrimination case that may mean some changes for overweight people and a case that may mean an end to panhandling. We'll have all that and more after this.
That will be $345 for that pair of glasses, sir.
Eyeglasses and 1-hour service don't have to be expensive. At iMart, prices are less because we don't have the expensive mall rent or expensive frame displays or millions of dollars of corporate overhead. Right now, buy 2 complete pair of eyeglasses for only $79.95. Hurry, limited offer.
iMart means eyeglasses in 1 hour for less. Call now or bring in your prescription to iMart in Tulsa at 71st and Sheridan next to PriceMart.
Want to buy a car? Want to buy a truck? Want to buy a van? Well, then head out to Pryor and find the Pryor Gang. The Pryor Gang is wanted because they make good deals. The Pryor Gang sells them right because they can. New or used, whatever you want, the Pryor Gang is worth finding because they can save you money. The Pryor Gang's easy to find. Head out New Highway 412 to the Choteau exit, then go north on Highway 69 to Pryor and see one of the gang.
Come to Woodcraft Furniture for quality gift ideas, like our famous jewelry armoire for only $188, or a beautiful handmade oak TV stand for just $169. This unique solid oak quilt rack, now only $39, or your choice oak or cherry hall trees, just $14. Solid comfort glide rockers from $169. No monthly payments and no interest for 6 months at Woodcraft Furniture, 5000 South Sheridan.
Adultery. It breaks hearts and shatters marriages.
I cried all that night, and I was in labor, and he never came home from work.
I just hired a detective to find out for sure.
She'll steal your husband.
Do you ever feel guilty?
No, I don't.
And she'll help you get him back.
There's nothing wrong with putting love notes in his pocket, a little bit of makeup on his underwear.
Catching your man cheating on the next Geraldo.
8's the place for Geraldo, Thursday at 9. From the heart of green country, Good Morning Oklahoma.
Day 2 of some chilly weather here in green country. The thermometer has dropped now. It's about 32 degrees outside. Well, the Supreme Court is considering some unique cases that will have some broad sweeping effects. Jack Sonnerhoff is in this week with more on them. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Karen. How are you?
Actually, the first case we're considering is a size discrimination case. Interesting impact on that.
It's a real interesting case. It originates in the state of Florida. A woman who was approximately 300 pounds, a little bit more, attended nursing school. And after she paid her tuition and began classes, the dean and her instructor said that you don't look healthy. You will not project the image necessary for hospitals. We think your weight and size will preclude you from doing the duties of a nurse, so you have to leave nursing school. And she sued. The case wound its way through the various courts in Florida, and a jury awarded her damages against the nursing school. The school appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States, and recently the Supreme Court said, no, we're not going to hear this case. We're going to leave the lower case's result intact.
So that upholds the ruling in that lower case then. What is this case going to mean then for people who are overweight?
A lot of civil liberties groups, civil rights groups, and full-sized organizations are really touting this as an exciting new breakthrough for size discrimination, that you just can't discriminate against someone because of their weight or size. But if you look closely at the jury's verdict and why they awarded the money they did, it was based more on a breach of contract. In other words, this gal had already paid her tuition. They could not prove she didn't do her classes right or for academic reasons, and so the school breached their contract with the student. And although the grounds dealt with size and weight, if you look at the real facts, it may not say what people are saying it says.
Sounds like we'll have to hear some more cases on that issue.
Exactly, and there are some with airlines and stewardesses, and this issue will become more and more important as years go on.
One other, as our population ages, is mandatory retirement, and there's also a case concerning that.
Very exciting area. 4 judges, I mean, these are people in the legal system, sued the state of Texas because they have a mandatory retirement age for judges at age 70. They sued saying this is unconstitutional. If you're going to have a mandatory retirement age for judges, you need to have it for everybody in a similar situation, people with desk jobs. Now, if you're a laborer and you could show that you need to have a certain strength, youth might be important, sure, but if we're sitting behind the desk, 70 is not right unless you apply it equally. And the Supreme Court decided to hear the challenge of these Texas judges.
Really?
And the interesting fact that most legal scholars are pointing out, Karen, is that 4 of the Supreme Court judges of our United States are over 70 themselves.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how they rule on the 70 issue.
How long before we have to wait to hear something on that, do you think?
Approximately 2 to 3 months before a final result.
All right. Now, also one panhandling case. Interesting implications for Tulsa. We'll have to hurry on this one, Jay.
Okay. Basically, New York City had a ban on panhandling in the subway area. The American Civil Liberties Union argued First Amendment constitutional right for people's free speech. If they want to ask for money, Salvation Army can do it, Santa Clauses can do it, why can't panhandlers do it? New York State said no, within the subway you can't do it, there's a safety reason, sometimes there's crime committed, and the Supreme Court again said no, we won't overturn New York. They can ban panhandlers in the subway area. Interestingly enough, Tulsa has something similar with the main mall in Bartlett Square. And from time to time, we hear lots of gripes from downtown merchants and people and business people in that area that we want to stop the panhandlers from hitting on people, asking for money and donations. Some people have been arrested and prosecuted on that law, and someone might challenge that ordinance because it's similarly drafted to the New York subway banning on panhandling.
We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. All right, Jack, thanks very much. And next week, you're going to be covering legal issues for people who might be headed over to the Persian Gulf, right?
Correct.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Thanks, Jack. Earthquake fever is rising in the Midwest as reporters swarm the small town of New Madrid in hopes of getting a story about the big one. News 8's Scott Gordon wraps up his look at All Shook Up.
That's going to be our main port hospital and port shelter.
Police and emergency crews already have their plans in place. They're ready for the worst.
We have about, my understanding, 4 locations set up as shelters.
While authorities and many residents are taking the threat seriously, others are making the most of it. Merchants are trying to cash in.
We're just doing it through fun, that's all.
Stores are selling T-shirts, asking, are you staying or are you leaving? Meanwhile, reporters are descending on the Missouri boot heel to tell the world what's happening or not happening.
They jokingly say that they're more concerned now about being run over by a satellite truck on December 3rd or 4th than they are the earthquake itself. But that's the local humor now. It's gotten a little dry.
But while some are joking, others are deadly serious.
As the time grows nearer, yes, everybody's getting pretty shook up.
So for now, New Madrid and hundreds of other cities along and near the fault are waiting anxiously. Even skeptics are wondering, what if? What if the prediction comes true? Even people who say they don't think it'll happen are quick to add, at least they hope not. Scott Gordon, News 8, New Madrid, Missouri.
Coming up next in news, the U.S. is busy doing some last-minute lobbying for support on the UN resolution against Iraq. We'll look at Secretary of State James Baker's last-minute political arm-twisting efforts in New York. And MTV says no way to Madonna's latest video, citing the fantasy-filled video is just too steamy for air. Those stories plus your weather forecast up next.
Discover Sit and Sleep Furniture's expanded waterbed department. Sit and Sleep has over 30 different styles of waterbeds, from the simple bookcase to 4-posters with carved headboards to elegant mirrored headboards to oak pier wall groups, all with matching furniture. Prices start at a low $179 for a complete bed, and until Christmas, every waterbed comes with a free set of sheets and mattress pad. Hey, don't forget the kids. Every child would love a waterbed for Christmas, only at Sit and Sleep Furniture, 73rd and South Memorial.
As you can see, I'm buried by the truly awesome year-end closeout savings available at your Green Country GMC truck dealer. If you want part of this cash, see him for big discounts on new Sierras, Sonomas, Jimmys, Safaris, and Suburbans. There's also cashback incentives and optional low-interest financing on both 90 and 91 models. Awesome savings and cash back. They're waiting for you now at your Green Country GMC dealer. Is that mine? No wonder it hurts.
Heart's Desire Pet and Hobby Center is a great place to get one-of-a-kind Christmas gifts. I mean, when you put a bird or some tropical fish under the tree, you can be pretty darn sure your gift is going to be unique. I mean, neckties. These are not. And don't forget our great selection of hobby gifts. Planes, trains, automobiles, and all that other neat stuff that guys secretly wish they would get, but never do. Heart's Desire Pet and Hobby Centers, 31st and Harvard in Tulsa, and in Broken Arrow.
Memories will always last, like dreaming of a Christmas past. Woodland hills, gifts from the heart. As we watch our children grow, the gifts we give will let them know we're happy to reveal the love we really feel. Woodland hills, gifts from the heart.
From the heart of Green Country, this is Good Morning Oklahoma with Karen Larson and Clark Powell.
Something. Good morning once again. Hope you have some time for some coffee or juice with us this morning. It is just about 19 minutes left before 7.
And it's another freezing morning. 32 degrees in the low-lying area. It's about 36. We're much warmer up here on the hill, so bundle up. We'll take a look at the forecast in a minute.
We're also just minutes away from previewing the AIDS Memorial Quilt. It's a project aimed at raising awareness of the toll that disease is taking on people in our country. First, though, Clark has a look at your news. Clark?
Good morning, Oklahoma. Taking a look at your national news this morning. The White House says President Bush will meet with top lawmakers on Friday to discuss the possibility of calling Congress back for a special session. The latest signals from Capitol Hill aren't all on the president's wavelength, though. The president faces growing American opposition to military action against Iraq. Meanwhile, the Senate Armed Services Committee continues hearings today on whether a military move now is wise. Mike McKee has more from Washington.
Those who counsel restraint in the Middle East got a somewhat unexpected boost yesterday from two former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. David Jones and William Crowd told the Senate Armed Services Committee they are concerned about the president's plan to double the U.S. deployment in Saudi Arabia.
My main concern with this latest scheduled reinforcement isn't that we might choose to fight, but rather the deployment might cause us to fight, perhaps prematurely, and perhaps unnecessarily.
Both said the U.S. could win any fight with Iraq, but it should be an absolute last resort. Both suggested waiting longer for the economic sanctions to work.
If, in fact, the sanctions will work in 12 to 18 months instead of 6 months, the trade-off of avoiding war with its attendant sacrifices and uncertainties would, in my estimation, be more than worth it.
Each man, citing the lessons of Vietnam, strongly suggested Congress and the president come to public agreement on the use of force. The panel's next witness agreed, but disagreed on the length of time the U.S. could afford to wait on the sanctions. Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger doesn't think the U.S. can sustain large troop levels in Saudi Arabia for long.
My gut feeling is that the presence of such a large American force in a theocratic society like Saudi Arabia is in the long term incompatible with its domestic stability.
The Senate committee will explore that further today, hearing from a panel of Middle East experts, as it weighs the pros and cons of taking action now rather than waiting. Mike McKee in Washington.
This afternoon, the United Nations will decide whether to pass a resolution authorizing the use of force against Iraq. Last night, Secretary of State James Baker did some last-minute political arm twisting to try and win support for the UN resolution. Mr. Baker held meetings with his Chinese and Cuban counterparts to try and shore up the vote on the resolution that calls for the use of force if Iraq doesn't leave Kuwait by January 15th. Despite Mr. Baker's efforts, Cuba says it will vote against the UN proposal. China says it will vote against the measure as well, but there is still no word on whether China will invoke its veto power. China is one of the 5 permanent members on the UN Security Council.
Hell no! We won't go! We won't fight for Amoco!
Students at the University of Louisville are divided over the deployment of U.S. troops to the Persian Gulf. Yesterday, nearly 200 students gathered at an anti-war demonstration to voice their concerns, but soon, student supporters for Operation Desert Shield showed up to voice their support for military action. Not since the 60s has the U.S. seen movements like these on college campuses. The two groups only traded words, though. No violence was reported. Well, MTV has said no to Madonna's latest video, saying it's just too risque to air. Madonna's newest steamy epic features bisexuality, cross-dressing, and more. After viewing the fantasy-filled video, the MTV network honcho said the video just wasn't for them. Madonna says no hard feelings. She respects their right to pick and choose. The video will be available for sale at a later time. Now here's today's Green Country calendar. Tonight at TU, 4 experts on Indian law present a panel discussion on a recent Supreme Court decision, Duro versus Reyna. Also at TU, the yearly festivity Holiday Happenings goes on all day at the Alan Chapman Activity Center, and the president of National Geographic teaches a class today at Whitney Middle School. Finally, the White House will be soon decking the halls for Christmas. Yesterday in North Carolina, the task of cutting down the first family's tree topped the agenda. Tree farmer Bruce Lacey got the honors of choosing the perfect tree for this year's decorating efforts, but he didn't choose one of his own. It seems that Lacey spotted an 18.5-foot Fraser fir beauty on a neighbor's property and asked for their permission to cut it down. The neighbors agreed, but said they would miss it since their grandfather planted it some 32 years ago. What else are you going to say when Mr. Bush asks you if he can have your tree? No, sir.
I guess they didn't say no, did they?
I
We
guess
watched
not.
them cut it down. Well, definitely some tree cutting kind of weather, or at least Christmas kind of weather.
It is Christmas kind of weather. Right now in Tulsa, we are sitting at 32 degrees down in the lower lying areas. Out in the city, it's a little warmer, and up here on the hill, it's about 36 right now. Humidity at 63%. The winds at northwest at 9 this morning. The pressure is 30-20 and rising. For today, sunny and warmer with a high of 59 degrees, winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. For tonight, clear and cold with a low of 25 degrees, winds out of the south at 10 to 15. And for tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 65, winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25. But it looks like a great weekend shaping up. We should see highs in the 50s and 60s.
Okay, thanks, Clark. Well, remembering those who lost their lives to AIDS. When we come back, a preview of the AIDS Memorial Quilt and the people who helped make it possible. We'll be right back.
Paget's TV is introducing Curtis Mathis. With every Curtis Mathis sold, they're giving you a cruise to the Bahamas. Believe it! Buy a Curtis Mathis product with a retail price of $2.99 or more. You'll get a quality Curtis Mathis product, the exclusive Curtis Mathis 6-year warranty, and a cruise to the Bahamas on us. Paget's TV Plus has portable TVs for as low as $2.99, console TVs for as low as $4.99, and get camcorders for as little as $9.99. A free Bahamas cruise from Curtis Mathis with a minimum purchase of $2.99. But hurry, this offer ends soon. Paget's TV Plus at 41st and Sheridan.
You shop Turnpike first and then buy a new or used car or truck from Turnpike or any new car dealer. We'll give you a $100 Toys R Us gift certificate just for shopping Turnpike first. That's right. You get the car or truck you want and your kids get all those new toys they want just because you remembered to shop Turnpike first.
Turnpike Ford, Subaru, Turner, Tollgate, Tulsa. Free road exit. Don't forget the gift certificate.
Afterwards, she would wander through the room, exploring it. She would open drawers, look at herself in his shaving mirror. Oftentimes, she would place his pipe between her teeth, the one he kept on his night table among the lemons, the lumps of sugar, and the jug of water. It took them a good quarter of an hour to say goodbye. Obsession for Men, Calvin Klein. This special holiday edition is yours, exclusively at Dillard's.
AIDS continues to take a toll in this country. More and more people are dying of that disease every day. Now, to help people become aware of the cost in lives, the AIDS Memorial Quilt is making its way around the country. Val Bodie is with the project. Anna Clark actually made one of the panels, and they're here this morning with more on that. Good morning.
Good morning, Karen.
The project opens up tomorrow. This is a really big event for Tulsa.
It really is. We've worked a long time on the display, and we're really excited about it.
Okay. Now, Anna, you actually made one of the panels for that. And the Memorial Quilt Project is made up of individual panels, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How did you come about doing that? What made you decide you needed to make a panel in honor of someone?
Well, it's very therapeutic. And you try to make something that helps you remember them, helps you work through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have a picture of one of the panels that we'd like to show you right now that Anna actually made in honor of Gary Durst. You obviously knew Gary.
Oh, yes.
Very well.
Many years.
That's great. And he'll be honored by this, as I'm sure.
Definitely.
Now, the Memorial Project is not just one panel, though. It is a whole series of panels.
Yes. The entire quilt consists of about 16,000 panels now. We'll be displaying around 1,000 here in Tulsa at the Civic Center.
Now, it's at the Convention Center.
Right, correct.
Friday through Sunday, I understand.
Friday, yes. Friday evening, we open to the public at 5:30, and we'll be there until 10 o'clock Friday night, all day Saturday and Sunday.
Now we have time now to take a picture of the quilt that Anna made, actually, so we'll take a look at that. And also, this is part of the Memorial Quilt, actually, that we'll be seeing at the Convention Center this weekend.
That's right.
So this is an awareness-raising effort, isn't it?
Yes, what we try to do is put names and lives to the statistics and show the humanity behind the disease. Viewing the quilt brings the experience of not seeing AIDS as a disease that affects a certain group of people, but rather a disease that takes the lives of those who are loved, family members, and people that we care for.
Mm-hmm. Anna, what do you hope that people will get from the Quilt Project this weekend?
I hope that they will be able to remember it's awareness of something that's been very debilitating to society, and perhaps just the educational aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. It really shows when you see quilt after quilt, name after name, the toll, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It brings it right to home.
All right, well, we'll look forward to the project opening up tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow evening.
Evening.
Yes,
Okay.
We'll be having guided tours for school, sophomore kids tomorrow during the day, but we'll open to the public at 6 o'clock.
Wonderful, and that's open through the weekend, I
Yes,
understand.
right.
All right, at the Convention Center, the AIDS Memorial Project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen.
Coming and telling us about it, and good luck with that. Well, before we check out this Thursday morning, we will have one last look at news and weather. Stay with us.
Who has the hottest deals and the hottest wheels? Your hometown Pontiac dealer. For $91, you'll find economical Le Mans and Sunbird. For solid driving fun, there's Grand Am, 6000 LE, Grand Prix, Bonneville, Trans Am, and Transport. Visit your hometown Pontiac dealer now and get cash back or optional low-interest financing on remaining 90 and new 91 models. See Jerry Ferguson Broken Arrow, Burl Williams Stigler, Rick Spess Cleveland, David Oakley Bartlesville, and Jimmy Ruth Henrietta.
It's the time of the year when there's joy in the air and the Christmas bells will ring. All of your friends are near. Color your Christmas.
Discover the distinctive beauty of Barcana trees. Made in America, easily assembled, and forever green. Barcana.
Color your Christmas with golden eyes.
When traveling by air, make ground travel convenient and safe by leaving your car at Fine Airport Parking. Once you've been escorted to the parking area, we'll shuttle you and your luggage to Tulsa International in 5 minutes or less. No hassle.
We offer complete auto detailing, and you also may freshen up in our courtesy room. Stop in for our complimentary soft drinks and popcorn, and we'll even clean your windows.
Tulsa's place to park when flying. Fine Airport Parking, 832-8880.
It's sort of a whole new ballgame at North Carolina Furniture Mart. We are now featuring the designer home ensembles in the factory sales rooms. Now, you can tell by looking at me that I'm no decorator, and I had nothing to do with it, but these were put together by experts, and they'll completely furnish your home with some of the best furniture made. And because you're part of a survey, you only pay the factory direct price. And for your retirement home or apartment, if you qualify for the 50-50 plan, it's only about $50 a month for everything. You need to stop by and see for yourself, just south of 131st on Memorial.
News 8 closed captioning, made possible in part by Tulsa Regional Medical Center. From the heart of green country, Good Morning Oklahoma.
With about 5 or 6 minutes left before 7, time for a last look at news. Clark?
Good morning, Oklahoma. Taking a look at your news headlines this morning. In just a matter of hours, the U.S. will know if weeks of political diplomacy paid off. Today, the United Nations will vote on a resolution authorizing the use of military force against Iraq if that country fails to withdraw from Kuwait by January 15th. Last night, Secretary of State James Baker held last-minute meetings with his counterparts from Cuba and China, trying to win support for the resolution. Despite his efforts, Cuba says they'll vote against the UN proposal. China says they'll do the same. However, the resolution is expected to pass overall. The Senate Armed Services Committee will continue hearings today on whether a military move against Iraq is wise. Yesterday, the committee heard testimony from former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Admiral William Crowell of Oklahoma and former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. Both men urged restraint from the U.S. when thinking about the use of military force against Iraq, citing that the economic sanctions should be given time to take effect. Marine reservists in Broken Arrow have reported for active duty. Yesterday, members of the 4th Anti-Tank Battalion filled out forms and packed duffel bags, all in preparation for their part in Operation Desert Shield. The unit is scheduled to leave Broken Arrow tomorrow morning for Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. They are a front-line unit with the goal of destroying tanks and armored vehicles.
Weather is changing, definitely dropping down this morning. It's only about 32 degrees outside right now.
Yes, it is. It's freezing, you might say. Literally, it is 32 degrees in Tulsa. Humidity at 63%. Winds out of the northwest at 9 miles per hour. The pressure is 30-20 and rising. For today, sunny and warmer with a high of 59 degrees. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. And for tonight, clear and cold with a low of 25 degrees. Throw another blanket on the bed. Winds out of the south at 10 to 15. And for tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 65. That's more like it. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the 5-day. A high Friday of 65. Saturday, a high of 58 under sunny skies. And Sunday, 62. But by the first of the week next week, we should be back down below 50 degrees.
Sounds like a
Once
great
again.
Christmas kind of forecast.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we have a great show lined up for tomorrow as well. Dr. Featherston is going to be in. He is going to be talking and bringing some great Christmas gift ideas for your pets. So you know you can't leave them off the
for your
list.
pet, of course.
Yes, I wrap up a bone for the dogs every year, and they get to rip apart the tissue paper, and
Yes,
hopefully
our pets always like nosing through the paper on the floor
Yes.
and all that good
looking
stuff.
for any goodies they might be able to
Of
find.
course.
Also, we'll be looking into the history of Santa Claus. We've got a great book and some artist renditions of the history and the transitions that Santa has made through the years. We'll be
Sure.
looking at that tomorrow. Hope you join us for that show. Got lots more for you tomorrow, bright and early at 6. See you
We'll
then.
see you tomorrow.